Today, we are going deeper into the heart of the ocean with Titanic, that sailed away in the theaters 24 years ago. Fox Studio recently celebrated Titanic's 20th anniversary in 2017, and netizens started wondering if Titanic would still be able to charm the wits out of the Gen Z hearts in the time of binge watching on Netflix and Amazon. Gear up, folks, as we settle the score by diving into the major facts that make Titanic a timeless classic and every cinephile's dream come true.
I don't have to leave. This is my part of the ship. You leave.
Number 1. Titanic is James Cameron's masterpiece.
Seems like a lifetime. But I remember everything like it was yesterday.
For those of you who don't know the man behind the lens, Cameron is the cinematic genius who introduced the world to Terminators. The Hulk of metal T-800, played by the mighty Schwarzenegger.
Hasta la vista, baby.
And the stuff of nightmares T-1000, played by Patrick Stewart, who simply refused to die. With his flair for cinematic diversity, Cameron's innovative approach brought Titanic out from the pages of history to create a harrowing tale of an epic love bound by class divides, tested by time and immortalized by a great catastrophe.
Don't you say your goodbyes. Not yet. Do you understand me?
Number 2. Titanic is a lot more than a star-crossed love story. As the tagline suggests, Titanic is at its core a love story, but like always, it's complicated, folks. Apart from being on board a giant steam liner that is fated to sink to the bottom of the North Atlantic Ocean, our lovers, Jack and Rose, played by Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, have a lot of hurdles in their way. For starters, they belong to separate social classes. From the beginning of the film, the ship is shown to be divided into first-class and third-class passengers, with the rich occupying the luxurious cabin class and the poor working folks thrown to the steerage class. Rose's family is brought to a first-class suite with dozens of suitcases and expensive paintings and God knows what, while Jack wins his tickets to the great ship in a game of poker, has to make a run to catch the sail, and later is dumped to a confined cabin. After their first encounter, Jack and Rose cross over to their potential worlds for a night, as Jack attends a courtesy dinner in the dining hall, where he is mocked for his accommodations.
Tell us of the accommodations in steerage, Mr. Dawson.
The best I've seen, ma'am. Hardly any rats.
After that one dinner, Rose is warned for her bad behavior.
I'm your fiancé.
My fiancé! Yes, you are, and
And Jack is shown his rightful place.
Second, all right?
Please see that Mr.
Please.
Dawson gets back to where he belongs and that he stays there.
Titanic is owned by the rich as the unsinkable ship, and the designer, Mr. Andrews, reveals in one scene that the lifeboats on the ship are not enough to even carry half of the passengers.
Sleep soundly, young Rose. I have built you a good ship.
When the ship hits the iceberg, among the 2,002 souls on board, it's the rich who are extracted first, while the poor are caged
Can't keep us locked in here like animals. The ship's bloody sinking!
and left to drown in their life jackets.
Half the people on this ship are going to die.
Not the better half.
If you want a lesson on social injustice and prejudice, Titanic is your perfect watch.
Get back, I say! Or I'll shoot you all like dogs!
Cameron is passionate about deep-sea diving and filmmaking, and according to Nat Geo, he made about 12 submersible dives to the wreck of Titanic, spending more time with it than its original passengers. Cameron's exploration is reflected in the opening of the film, where a deep-sea expedition is being carried out to the site of Titanic's underwater wreck. We don't know about you, but Cameron gains our massive respect for this much devotion to his craft. Titanic won 11 Oscars and was also the first Best Picture winner to win the Best Sound and Sound Effects category. James Cameron won 3 Academy Awards, namely for Best Director, Best Picture, and Best Editing, and quoted Jack Dawson on the stage after receiving his Oscar.
I'm the king of the world!
Reportedly, a tank of 350,000 gallons of water was used to shoot the post-sinking scenes, using powder that crystallizes in contact with water and wax to create the wet frozen look of corpses. Number 3. The brilliant cinematography and execution. The success of Titanic till date relies mainly on the marvelous cinematography and the focus on little details throughout the film, for which, again, we will give credit to James Cameron's insightful execution. 1.5 hours into the film, we are more concerned for Rose and Jack's future than the fate of thousands of innocent people on board.
When the ship docks, I'm getting off with you.
But when Titanic is given a time limit to go down, it's a race against time for survival, making the drowning of the ocean liner more appalling and personal to the general audience. Cameron makes the audience live the 2 hours and 40 minutes that took Titanic to completely disappear in the ocean. From the scene that the passengers are given an instruction to wear life jackets, to Mr. Andrews checking his watch every few seconds, to the obliviousness of the rich as they are distracted by music and drinks, their silly tantrums as we are told the earliest possibility of a rescue ship,
Go back and turn the heaters on in our rooms. I'd like a cup of tea when I return.
to watching the orchestra set on deck as the women and children are loaded on boats, while the poor are locked with false promises and the smoke signals that light up the sky like fireworks. There is slow build-up of emotion and tension. The tension explodes as the third-class passengers start breaking their doors. The docks become overcrowded and people go crazy for the lifeboats. It is incredibly satisfying to watch how the tragedy does not discriminate at all. The apology of Mr. Andrews takes a heavy toll on our frazzled nerves, but then Captain Smith closes his cabin door, resolved to go down with his ship, and the orchestra plays on. Here we would like to give a nod of appreciation to Leo and Kate for their marvelous performance. Leo truly captures his boy-next-door persona since the beginning of the film, winning hearts with his charming smile, but he becomes the man of the moment as he fights to survive and keep his lady love alive as Titanic sinks to the ocean floor. Kate astounds the audience with her vicious screen presence. First as a beautiful teenage socialite, and later as a woman on a mission to save the love of her life by walking through ice-cold water, leaving her family and keeping all her promises till the end. The emotional depth of acting in their last moment together takes our breath away every single time. Cameron puts emotion and heart into every desperate second that leads the people to their ending, putting together a collage of scenes that shook us to the core.
No will!
The peak cinematic moment of the film, and the one that makes us mourn the loss of the great tragedy, is when the ship goes vertical, breaks into half as the people hang on to the raised deck, while praying for a miracle to happen. Like the people on the lifeboats, we are just left as silent spectators. The stunning cinematography, cutting-edge visuals, especially during the sinking of Titanic, to the little details of emotion put into every second of the film, makes the film a worth watch for cineholics. Number 4. The empowering love story of Jack and Rose. Even though they are regarded as star-crossed lovers like Romeo and Juliet, Rose and Jack do not give their lives to escape the cruel society. Rather, they are true rebels at heart who empowered each other through their selfless love. From the start, Rose finds herself bound to her Victorian society norms and stuck in an arranged marriage, while Jack is a true gypsy at heart, roaming the world, wearing his heart on his sleeve.
I'm the king of the world!
Despite being a Victorian-era socialite, Rose is shown to be a woman of incredible wit with a fiery spirit and an interest in both arts and science, smashing patriarchy's sins forever. On the other hand, our hero has an interesting ideology when it comes to life.
You never know what hand you're gonna get dealt next. You learn to take life as it comes at you.
Rose is desperate to break free from the shackles of society, the iron hold of his mother and her vile, abusive fiancé. So when Jack saves her from falling off the railing, he literally becomes her saving grace till the end.
No! Stay where you are! I mean it! I'll let go!
Jack inspires Rose to live and cherish every moment of her life, teaches her to become her own savior by breaking free of all that binds her. Rose is empowered by her love for Jack, and their love encourages her to spit Carl in the face, call her mother out for her snobbery, wade through a sinking ship to save Jack, go through so much trauma, but still manage to survive till the end.
It was promised me that she'll survive.
And that promise just warms our hearts.
I promise.
Jack loses his life to the cold depths of the ocean, but leaves behind a legacy of a resilient love and a gift of freedom and courage for Rose.
Is there anyone alive out there?
Their inspirational love makes this film a bittersweet treat to cherish.
Can anyone hear me?
Grab your tissue box, because this one is definitely a cry fest.
Come about!
But Titanic will definitely make your heart go on. Until next time.